I really enjoy hiking and backpacking in groups, but I love hiking and backpacking solo. I can set my own pace. I can start when I want to start. I can end when I want to end. I can stop and eat when I want to eat. But it does come with challenges. So today we're going to go through 16 ways that you can make sure that when you're hiking and backpacking solo, you're doing it safely. Okay, so one of the most important ways that you can go through and assure that you're safe while you're out and about is let someone know, one, where you're going, what your intended route is, and when you should be back. So someone hopefully that's responsible and they're on the lookout for you. And I'm going to throw a link down at the very bottom in the description to a video I did a while back about creating a communication plan for doing just that. We all like to be very trusting, but quite honestly, occasionally, there's some creepers out there. So don't go through and advertise that you're hiking or backpacking alone, and also don't disclose the route if you don't have to. I try to keep all that stuff completely to myself. Even on social media, I don't start posting about a bunch of stuff until after it's over with. Next up on the list, you need to have some kind of self-protection plan. So when I hike and backpack, I love to take the dog with me. Not that I expect her 38-pound self with her pigtail and her pajamas on to protect me, but what I do expect is, her to be a good early warning system when things are out and about that I'm not able to see or hear. But then at the same time, you need to have a plan to physically protect yourself, whether it is something like bear spray, or whether it is I'm carrying while I'm out and about where it's legal, or even just having, having something nice and sharp and pointy. You need to have some kind of plan to protect your person while you're out and about in the event that it happens. Next up on the list, and I actually enjoy this step of the planning each time I get ready to go out for a new trip, I'm always researching and looking for what are the wildlife dangers that I need to be aware of while we're out and about. As we travel to different areas of the country, we can't always assume that we're going to potentially be exposed to the same stuff we're accustomed to. So look at all the stuff, whether it slithers or creeps or crawls, or even plant life that might be issues for us. Am I going to be in an area where there's a lot of poison ivy or poison oak or sumac or whatever? Get familiar with the snakes that are out there. Get familiar with the predators that may be out there that you may be exposed to, because knowing is half the battle. So, G.I. Joe quote. I harp on this next one a lot. Carry a real first aid kit and carry realistic survival items while you're out there. I need to have a way to make water safe to drink. I need to have a way to easily make campfire and make shelter. And then I need enough first aid stuff to actually, really cover my basic needs if something happens, something beyond, 3 Advil and a piece of moleskin. Next up, you need to be aware of the surroundings and be aware of your route and how they relate together. Very often we get very preoccupied by looking at the actual trail route, and we don't pay nearly enough attention to what's going on outside of there. So when I'm planning a trip, I'm always looking for things like bailout routes if need be. So here's a road coming through here, there's a road up through here. And then also looking for, if I do get lost, even without the map, which should never happen, but I still want to know what's around me. So I'm looking for roads, I'm looking for, like on satellite footage, I'm looking for things like power lines or train crossings, anything that I can bookmark in my head that in the event something happens and I need to get off trail, or I've gotten off trail and I need to get back to civilization, I have that in my head of, really which direction do I need to go? What do I need to be on the lookout for? And that'll help me keep. This next one is incredibly important, especially for the ladies, and it's a very simple thing to do. Carrying yourself confidently. If you look like you're unsure, if you look like you are an easier target, people are going to pick up on that. And a lot of it's body language, but just carry yourself confidently, look like you know what you're doing. A lot of that comes from being prepared. It'll give you that confidence that, hey, I've got this, but don't let it be a false sense of confidence. Definitely be prepared, know what's going on, know what's around you. Don't be oblivious to everything. Be aware. All right, so we're all very accustomed to carrying around our phone and that being our primary way of reaching out for help. But we need to have a communication device that's going to be reliable. And we know in the woods these aren't always reliable. Having said that, this is the newer iPhone. This is the 15, and I think they started with the 14. Now there is that emergency satellite communicator in here. I'm probably going to do a video on it here pretty soon, but it is in there. It definitely seems to work. I'm hearing really good reports out of it. I've tested it, but obviously haven't used it. I have for the longest time been carrying this Spot Gen 4, which has served me really well. And I've just recently moved over to this Motorola Defy, which I'm really liking so far. I've only had it for a couple of weeks. Once I get a little more comfortable with it, I'll do a video review on it. But really liking what I have seen out of it so far. Still some things I wish they would improve on it, but once they get there, I'll probably get rid of the Gen 4 as well. But so far so good on that. But have some kind of communication device beyond just your cell phone, unless, like I said, you do have that newer one that can use the satellite backup. Next up, the one I harp on all the time. Carry a real map and a real compass, something that actually has a degree on it that you can take bearings, not just those little death compasses that are little balls on carabiners and stuff. But go through, carry the two, know how to use them, pay attention to them while you're out and about so that you can keep yourself oriented and get back out of the woods. Now this next one can sneak up on all of us. Pay attention to the weather, not just whatever your local meteorologist told you 3 days ago before you left for your trip. Pay attention to what's going on now. I'll throw a link to another video down below that I did a while back on reading the clouds. That alone will carry you a really long way toward being prepared and not being surprised by the weather. Just definitely, like we said earlier, be present in the now, and part of that's paying attention to what the weather's doing around you, because it can sneak up on you quickly. This next one's pretty hard to admit to ourselves. Stay within your limits. Don't assume that at my almost 50-year-old body can perform at the same level that my 20-year-old body did. Except that we need to be more mindful of pacing ourselves, and don't plan and bite off more than we can chew all in one big clip. Ease yourself into it, and don't set too aggressive of a plan. Go ahead and plan for something smaller, and if you are able to achieve more than that, perfect, you're ahead of schedule. But don't go out straight out the gate and assume I'm going to go do 20 miles today, uphill and rough terrain, and that be my mark because I've got to be out on Sunday. Don't be overly aggressive with that stuff. Next up on the list, always carry a few extra snacks and a way to make water safe to drink, regardless of whatever method you pick. There's dozens of different filters and solutions that are out there. Just pick the one that works for you and go with it. Okay, don't tell the leave no trace police. When it comes to setting up camp at night, go dark. Go off the trail somewhere where you're not visible from the trail. I've had people on trail while I'm laying there asleep actually look inside my shelter to see. I'm like, oh, I'm just checking your shelter out. Were you doing that, or were you looking to steal something? Just go off the trail, set up if you're concerned about it, and especially if you're solo. Sometimes it's a little easier just to get yourself away from everyone else. It is a double-edged sword. If people they know you've set up off trail and you're a little more secluded, it may be easier to mess with you. So it is paramount that while you're out there, you make sure you are low noise, low light level, keeping things nice and quiet, sort of stealth camping approach to it. But just, be out of the way, out of sight, out of mind. Listen to your gut while you're on the trail. If something tells you that, you're being watched, or this person seems creepy, or they're just a little too interested, trust yourself, be vigilant, and trust what your body's telling you, because sometimes we're picking up on clues subconsciously that we consciously don't realize what it is about a person or situation that is making us uncomfortable. Be conscious of that, pay attention to it, trust your body. And for God's sakes, don't be running around on the trail with your ear pods in so that you can't hear anything whatsoever around you. People love these little Bose ear pods because, quite honestly, the noise canceling is wonderful on them. The sound quality is great. That also means I can't hear anything whatsoever around me. I have walked up behind people on the trail and they have no clue that I'm there, and I've not been quiet about it. I've been pretty noisy and have spoken and not realized until you get right up on top of them that they've never heard a thing I said. If you have to wear something on the trail, look at these sort of bone conducting headphones. I do occasionally use these. You can put them on they sit in front of your ear, and so you still hear everything around you. So if you're determined to listen to music on the trail, one, don't use a big Bluetooth speaker off the back where everyone can hear you. Look for ear pods. These would be my preferred solution. If you have to go with something like this, only put one in so you still have that other ear to hear everything else around you. Now this last one's not really a tip for solo hiking, but more in a small group hiking situation. It's going to sound kind of crazy. Establish some safe words. So if it's 2 or 3 people out hiking together, and maybe using a certain word lets the rest of the group know that, hey, I'm not comfortable in this situation, let's get out of here. Go ahead and establish a safe word so that everyone is all on the same page, and we're not trying to do, eye movements across the fire to let everyone know that, hey, I'm getting a bad read on this person. Okay, guys, hope you found that beneficial. I want to cruise through a couple quick safety tips for everyone getting into the new year, hopefully getting it off on the right foot. As always, if you're out on the trail watching this video right now, just remember, left foot, right foot, repeat. We'll see you out there soon.